In this lesson, we're going to continue our discussion of Flash movie architecture by looking at how Flash uses different kinds of stacking for organization. The most simple kind of stacking occurs in the layers area of the timeline. One well-used analogy for design applications that use layers is that each layer is kind of like a sheet of acetate or clear plastic, and we, the viewer, are looking straight down on a stack of these sheets. If a piece of acetate or layer is empty, we can see through it to the layers below. Or we can draw on it, and our artwork then blocks our view of whatever is below it. The next kind of stacking in Flash is what happens if we have multiple objects all on the same layer. To keep all the objects from interfering with one another, Flash will stack them up. And if we want to change the stacking order, it's easy enough. We just need to use the Arrange menu under Modify. And we can select and use this to move objects up and down. Now, the final kind of stacking involves levels, and this may be a little harder to understand fully because it's a bit abstract and it happens behind the scenes. For the most part, we worry about levels when we're doing things like loading other Flash files or media files like pictures dynamically at runtime, or in other words, while our presentation is actually playing for a viewer. To explain how levels work, we're going to open the Debugger panel. To do this, choose Control and Debug Movie. We're going to cover this panel fully later on in this course, so don't worry about anything else but the top left window and the entry that says Level 0. This is the root timeline of the currently playing scene, and looking past these windows, it's this timeline right here. And the root timeline is always at level 0. Okay, so what goes on the other levels? Well, it's any other content that we load dynamically. In the ActionScript code that we use to load something at runtime, we specify a level. And, as you may have guessed, these levels use stacking. Nothing can be sitting behind or under the currently playing scene because this forms the base or background of the presentation. This is why it's called level 0. When we load something, we can make it load into the next highest level, which in this case would be level 1. Then it's going to be sitting on top of the contents of the main scene. But wait, there's more. This is also affected by which layer we're loading the content into. If we load something inside a movie clip that's sitting in a layer underneath something else in the main timeline, the content will still appear to be sitting underneath the contents of the higher layer. Yes, I know, it can get a bit confusing. But we're not going to be using these levels concepts in this course, as it's more of a subject for an action scripting course. However, we've covered the basics of it now, so that later on if you decide to pursue advanced learning, you'll at least be familiar with the concept. And that's it for this lesson. Let's move on.